Sometimes I spend part of my day calling on homes that are listed on the MLS, multiple listing service, or on Zillow, and you can see that they're on the market for a very long time at a price that you know is not something that the market is willing to pay. And actually, it's not so much that they're not willing to pay, but perhaps it's really what they're able to pay. And I'll explain here in a minute. Obviously, everyone who has their house listed on the MLS or on Zillow or whatever, anyone selling their house, they want the cash now, not later, and they want the price that they want. That's what they want, cash at their price. There's nobody that wants anything else. The real question is that something you can get? And what is it that could prevent you from getting it? Well, let me share that with you. Most houses under $2 million involve some level of financing, some level of a lender or a bank giving money to the buyer to buy the house. Well, I mean, no lender is going to lend money on something that isn't worth the money that they're lending. I mean, they're not going to lend $100 on something that is worth 50, and they're not going to lend, $150,000 to something that's only worth 100. And there's a lot of people with their houses on the market at that high price, and it's sitting on the market and sitting there. And the reason why it's sitting there is because the banks aren't giving the buyers the money to buy the house at the price that you want. It's just that simple. So what can you do? Well, I mean, you have to decide. Are you going to keep the house and rent it? And I talk to people and they say, I don't want to rent it. They're going to mess my house up and all that. I understand that. Renting is not for everyone. But if you're not going to rent it, okay, then let's go back to selling it. Well, there's a couple different ways to sell it. There's the cash at my price now, which is not working. And then there is lowering the price, which a lot of you are not going to be willing to do. And you're going to say, well, I'm not giving my house away, or I'm not lowering my price. And I completely understand it. It's the value you have in your house. It's your house. You do what you want. But if you want to get it across the finish line, you've got to find a way to do it. So if regular financing and cash with the bank are not working and you don't want to rent, well, then let's talk about some other arrangements that we can do. And that's kind of where I come in as an investor. And we'll give maybe a little money down, and then perhaps we'll pay part of the price over time, or perhaps we'll pay the majority of the amount over time, or perhaps perhaps you don't even want to leave. Perhaps you really want to stay. You're not sure how to handle a bill or some costs or some things, and we can lend money in the form of an option that will give you money now, and then we'll get a benefit from the option at a later date. These are some of the things that you kind of have to think through and decide, do you want to stay, do you want to rent, or do you want to sell? And if you want to sell and it's not going to work the normal way, we've got to find a different way, or you have to lower your price. I'm certain you don't want to lower your price. So then let's just call it an investment, lock it in at that high price, and work with us to get it closed in the way that we need to get it closed, in a way in which we don't need to use a bank or have any involvement with a bank, with any buyers. Let's work together and figure that out.